This is Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in the San Gabriel Valley, joined again by Karen Davis. She is a member of the Glendora City Council. And even though redevelopment vanished, was it 6 years ago now? It's been a while.
Yes.
There's still redevelopment dollars that are trickling in to various jurisdictions, including Glendora. Who knew?
Yes.
How did that happen? Explain.
Well, there was some money that the county had after the dissolution of redevelopment, and we've been waiting for that. And of course, with most bureaucracies,
Right.
it takes a while
Takes
for
a
it
little
to
time.
go through all of
Right.
the process. So finally, we saw the $2 million, and then we had some additional funds and reserve. And so that approximately $3.1 million, we decided to look at how we could get the most bang for our buck,
Right.
and do those things that residents might appreciate having done as quick as possible.
Which is fantastic. I mean, I know Glendora well. It's a wonderful city, a beautiful city. I love your downtown area, a lot of development going on. But look, like most cities throughout the state of California, the roads, at least some of them, are in disrepair.
Yes.
No criticism of Glendora. You know, we're going to have that fixed. We'll talk about that later on. But like you said, you had money here. You had over $3 million that you could use to the benefit of Glendora residents. So, God, ultimately, it looks like you had about 31 projects under consideration. Essentially, 30-ish got approved. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it was great when we looked at it to try to pare down the list, because the original list was even longer. As we pared it down, we tried to find those things that, one, would give value right away to the residents.
Right.
Also would have the greatest return. For instance, some of our facilities that we rent out, some of them need new heating and air conditioning, new flooring. So if we fix those places up, we can rent them out and see a return.
Yeah, higher rate. That's fair.
So
That's
that
fair.
was great. And then other things like leaky roofs and some other problems that we were having, if we fix those, we would eliminate having any future repairs.
Of course.
So trying to look at it practically, where are we going to see the most value? Then of course, residents would like to see their infrastructure repaired. So looking at streets so that folks could say, wow, my tax dollars at work. You know, Caltrans has been so great at that. Whenever they're doing a project, you see the big signs, your tax dollars at work, and everybody's like, oh, yay.
Thank you, Caltrans.
Yes,
Right.
so we wanted to do that in our own little way, try to find those things where people could see, wow, there's my money at work making the city better.
So how quickly can we see construction begin? Because look, you know, we're great, it's been approved, but now.
Right. Hopefully, right now we're getting bids on some of these things.
Okay.
Some things can happen in-house, some we have to go out to bid for. So as soon as those go out to bid and we get those bids back and approve them, then we'll be moving along. So hopefully before the end of this calendar year, some of these things, folks, will see them happening.
Let me ask you, do you think there's any chance we'll see some form of redevelopment return? I mean, we've been talking, yeah, I saw that expression, I get it. Yeah, I mean, it's dicey. You know, I thought maybe even in 13, 14, but probably not.
Well, not anytime soon, especially not while Governor Brown is in Sacramento, because he's not a big fan of it. So I think that we would have a hard time. So maybe in the future it may reinvent itself in some different way, be resurrected.
So your timing with regard to making these infrastructure repairs is probably good, in that there's a lot going on in terms of the infrastructure space. Aside from what may happen in Washington with the new administration, we don't know yet, but let's talk about what's happening in California. The voters of California were very generous back in November with Measure M. And Measure M is a transportation sales tax. And I happen to love the Gold Line. I take the Gold Line often to get here. We're in Irwindale today. And so it goes right through the San Gabriel Valley. At this point, though, it doesn't get to Glendora yet.
No, it comes right to our city border right there at Citrus College.
And so guess what? With Measure M, it's going to extend, no?
Yes.
So talk us through that. I mean, this has got to be incredibly exciting for...
No, it's going to be great, because now those residents we have that commute A lot of them already, I believe, are going over and parking in Azusa and hopping on, but this will give them that access to use the Gold Line. And our hope is that it will bring other folks to Glendora. They'll hop on the Gold Line either to the east or the west of us and say, wow, I think I want to get off and go shopping in Glendora, go to the village,
and let me
check
ask
things
you,
out.
where do we know where the stop's going to be?
Yes, it's going to be right at the corner of Glendora and Ada.
Is that near the village?
It's at the southernmost extent of the area that's zoned part of that village civic center.
The reason I ask you, I mean, I've said this to you a million times, I love the village. I just think it is a crown jewel in this region. And I would hope that with the Gold Line, folks could get off and just be there and enjoy what the village has to offer. Does it? I mean, is it fairly accessible?
Right now, where the village, most folks imagine it ending is at Foothill. But as technically
it goes further.
Right. And so what our hope is that as it gets closer to reality, the station being there, that some of that area along Glendora Avenue will continue to morph and change so that it invites folks to get off the train and walk north and go to restaurants, go to shops.
I have to say, it seems like the catalytic consequences of the stop should be dramatic and should do exactly what you just described, because it makes all the more sense to try to keep luring people in. I want to ask, is there something that the city can do? I mean, in the day you could have turned to redevelopment to try to jumpstart that part of the village. Is there anything you can do now? Are you thinking of doing anything?
Constantly, we're talking to people in that area, looking at zoning, looking at specific plans. Right now, we do have some funds available for small business loans for businesses that want to expand, make improvements, work on their facades, things like that.
Okay.
So the hope would be, as that Gold Line becomes more of a reality and the start time is closer, that folks will look at that area.
Do we know when this is slated? I don't know.
They keep moving the target a little bit, but they probably will not have it done maybe another 6-7 years.
Oh, really? Not by the end of the decade?
No, it'd be nice. But
if we get the Olympics, I think that's a goal.
Great.
2024. Let's talk about the gas tax, which to some is an anathema, but it's here. And the gas tax is going to provide, this is the state gas tax, for significant funds for road improvements, both local roads and state roads. The local road need is massive, $78 billion. I know Glendora is but one of the 440 cities, but what is Glendora starting to think about? How can we access those funds to our benefit?
No, we're looking at that, and also from the LA County tax that was approved.
So aside from the Gold Line, because M also gives...
Because there's money available for streets and for the first mile and last mile to make some adaptations to your roads to be more bicycle friendly, all of those different things. So we're looking at the bigger picture of how can we morph our streets to be better and to be more friendly.
So is this a process that Glendora will go at it on its own, or will you partner with kind of the San Gabriel Valley COG, I guess, to try to access Measure M funds, gas tax funds from Sacramento?
Both.
Right.
Because it does have to be regional, because there's areas that connect. You know, for us, Route 66, Arrow Highway, and Route 66 is just south of where the Gold Line station will be. So it's important for us to be in conversation, because it's not only what's important for Glendora, but it is a regional conversation. And that's where we're going to have success.
Exciting times. Her name is Karen Davis. She is a councilwoman in the city of Glendora in the San Gabriel Valley, where we are today. I'm Brad Pomerance on Local Edition.